Okay, this is the last video that I'm going to do for projectors because I want to move on to the other energy types. But this is human design, profile, projector, last video, tips and tricks. I am a 6/3 emotional projector, cross of alignment, incarnation cross of alignment, which means that I am very, very psychic, very, very psychic, and especially when it comes to people's emotions. I could feel people's, not only I could feel their expressed emotions, I could feel their repressed emotions, which means that for a long time I triggered a lot of people, a lot. And it took me a while to recognize this, that my energy structure just triggers people. And the reason why is because if people are running from themselves, lying to themselves about how they feel about things, or numbing or walking away from how they feel about things, I would feel that emotion and express it. So I was literally expressing the emotion they were running away from. So if somebody was basically in love and they were just feeling happy, but they were trying to repress it, feel very serious, then I would all of a sudden feel like effusive and joyful around them and in love. And they would get really triggered thinking that I was making fun of them. If somebody was really angry and I was around them and they were repressing their anger and just being really stoic, I would feel the anger and I would get flustered, I would get frustrated and upset. If somebody was feeling joy, or a sadness, that sadness was the worst one. So people would feel sadness around me, but they would repress their sadness because they thought the sadness was weakness. And when I would talk to them, I would spontaneously cry. I'd feel the urge to cry. And I would make them so mad. And of course that traumatized me, because can you imagine, like, I'm just hanging around with someone and I feel like the urge to cry and I begin to cry and then they start yelling at me. Like, oh my God. like my life was a dumpster fire emotionally until I figured this out. Being psychic is not a fun gift to figure out. And it's not what it cracked up to be. Everybody makes it look kind of glamorous, but it's not. Being able to feel other people's repressed emotions and then become possessed by them and also express them and get hurt because the other person was triggered. It just meant that I had to walk around this world realizing that everybody was a landmine, an emotional landmine ready to blow up at any given moment. It's a good way to actually work, because like going throughout life, it made me realize that I need to be very mindful with every human being I come across, because human beings are incredibly dangerous. It kept me safe, and but it was also a real burden. So what ended up happening was around the age of 50, I would say, because I'm 53 now. So I would say like around 47, it was even before. Around 47, I just started isolating and I just couldn't take it. And so what would happen is I would meet people and they'd fall desperately and madly in love with them because I would make them feel seen. I make them feel heard as a projector. And because I have the incarnation cross of alignment, they would get really lucky, like really lucky. Like everybody I befriended and loved became lucky while they were connected with me. And then when I left, sometimes they would have bad luck and think that I cursed them, which I didn't. I just removed myself from your field of reference, and you got to deal with your bad luck. You got to deal with your karma on your own then. But besides that, what ended up happening was I would meet people and I would really love them, do the dance, and then the moment I noticed that they could not handle or respect me, boom, I was out of there. And so I dropped a lot of people. I dropped a lot of people in the last 5 years, and I isolated, and it was hard. It was really hard, but I had to do it for my own well-being because I kept meeting people who treated me like crap. and I got tired. I literally just could not. I just cannot deal with people and their disrespect. I respect every living being that I'm around. But if they're going to disrespect me, I'm out. I'm not. And I started realizing, like, when I do it, things in my own time, my own pace, I'm never going to explain myself ever again. I'm not going to justify what I do. I'm not going to explain my choices. I'm just going to be. Just going to be. And it was really hard. The people pleaser in me was really fighting that. But what got me through was this very simple ritual. And in magic, we do this thing like where we can take on cloaks and archetypes and create an egregore of self, and then have that egregore of self interact with another egregore of self. So you can have different archetypes interacting with different archetypes inside of you. So I created an egregore of the young, naive projector, and I created an egregore of the evolved divine projector. Because I was just like, well, obviously I don't understand this energy thing. So I went to my higher self and I said, hey, can I create can you create a form of like us as highly evolved, like where we're going to be in like 40, 50 years, My higher self did that. I gave her a name, and it's for me. And then the little naive projector, she has a name too. So what I would do is every morning I would wake up and I would role play with these characters, and we would talk about what we want to do during the day. And then right before I go to bed, I would role play with those characters as well, and they would interact and talk about what happened during that day. Anytime there was a miscommunication or issue with a relationship, I'd pull out those egregores, those archetypes, naive young projector and evolved enlightened projector, and they would interact and talk. What it ended up doing was it turned my projector energy inwards into me, because as projectors, you will realize that every person you focus on, you heal. You heal and align and help and transmit codes to everybody that you focus on. You can't help it, especially if you have like gate 55 or 49. Like, you're going to be transmitting beautiful spiritual enlightened codes. And sometimes as a projector, that's why the bitterness comes in, because you see everybody around you succeeding and you aren't. So you need to turn that lovely energy inwards, and you need to you can do this play acting, create these personas inside of your mind, and you can have like a room, like a classroom or a nice, for me it was I have in my I have like a magical realm inside of my mind with different halls and houses that represent my magical practices. And that's through my own rune practice. I created halls of the gods within my mind, and I created a very specific hall for my projectors, my projector archetypes, the young and the old, so that we could sit down and mediate and talk about this. And so I wanted to give this as like a projector magician's insight on how to handle these energies. What that did is essentially it turned my projector energy inwards and it healed my body. I began to become innately psychically connected to everything that I was doing for me. Like, my bones began to speak to me, my joints, I began to become psychically aware of the food I was eating, the microbes in my gut, like everything. Like, I had a recent dream. I was dreaming about Demodex, which is the mites that live on my skin were talking to me. Like, it was crazy. Like, it just kind of allowed me to become psychically aware of my own body. It really helped me heal my energy. And it also helped me navigate this world better and demand better treatment, even if people don't understand you. And that's the key. People are not going to understand you. We are a very small subset of these archetypes. So you have to demand respect regardless.